Hi, everybody. I'm Danny at Danny Girl Art. And today I'm going to share with you a mini pocket sketchbook that I completed on a recent weekend trip to Jamaica. So it was a very tiny sketchbook that I carried with me, and I did super quick 3 to 5 minute drawings in to log some of my memories over the weekend. So I'm going to share this with you today. This is a Stillman and Byrne Zeta series sketchbook, and I really like it. I've invested a lot of money in sketchbooks over the past month, and so far this is definitely one of my top three out of them, and I will be ordering more of these. And the price is pretty reasonable too. This was about $12. All right, so I'm going to switch over and we're going to take a look at what I did while I was enjoying some R&R. So I'm usually a planner with my vacations, but this is a very last minute trip to kind of escape some things going on here in life. So my husband and I last minute booked a trip to Jamaica, and we flew into Montego Bay, and we stayed at a Sandals, which from New York was a great 3 hour flight. So really nice and quick. So let's start at the beginning. When I got to the airport, I did my first sketch, and every single drawing in this particular sketchbook are all single contour line drawings, which means that wherever I start, my pen never leaves the paper. So I go back over some of my lines and retrace. So things look maybe a little off and a little silly and wonky, but it's really the catch of memory. So this was October 2024 while I was waiting at JFK Airport. This was my suitcase and my carry-on on top. You can see, because I didn't want to pick up my pen, I connected to these little snack racks over here. So I do not check luggage of my own. So this was my carry-on, and this is all the luggage I brought, but it was a short weekend. But even my 2 week travels, I have been lucky enough to figure out a way to bring a carry-on only. All right, once we got to the resort, again, all single line, Sandals South Coast, beautiful beach day, quiet and sunny, writing a little bit of my memories. I like to kind of find the quiet areas away from people, but just in general, this resort was pretty quiet and low key, which was exactly what I needed. Over here, I did include a little Zentangle tile. So peacocks all over the resort. For me, loving birds, this was like bird heaven for me. I wish I would have had a better camera with me. I only had my cell phone, but that's okay. So there were peacocks everywhere, on the tennis courts, on the beach, on chairs, on the lounge chairs. It was the cutest thing. And I mean, dozens of them, so many peacocks. So this was one of the ones walking down the beach path. This was sushi on the bay, just a little bit of soy sauce and chopsticks, the little bowl, and some of the sushi pieces that we had on our plate: lobster champagne roll, yellowtail nigori. Morning serenity. I love morning walks before everyone's up. Peace. It's just so peaceful. It's my favorite time of day. Here was a hut that you could rent that was out in the water. So they had little chairs in there, and you could spend the day. We did not rent it, but it was a nice little sketch to enjoy. And I just loved the calm water around it. So a little study of a flower that was growing. What type of flower? I don't know. My camera, for some reason, wasn't identifying. It usually identifies on my phone, but this one did not. Here's the swim up pool, and that's Will. And oh my gosh, I made his head a little big, but he's floating. This is the back of his head, and this is his float. And he was reading his magazine, and there's a swim up pool. And oh my goodness, it was hot and humid, but sunny, and Will was floating. And I was really there to relax because I had been so ill for so long, and I was feeling okay that morning. It wasn't too bad of a morning, which was good. And I kept myself under the umbrella in the shade. This bird was hysterical. It had crazy feathers, a twisted beak. That wasn't just my wonky one-line drawing. That's actually his beak that's twisted underneath. And I thought he was wet, but when I got up close, and I literally was super close to him, he just had the craziest feathers. And I felt bad for him because it didn't seem like the other birds really wanted to socialize with him. So I don't know if he was born that way or they got into a fight, but I always knew when I saw this bird on the property, which one it was. But he was very friendly with me. I think he knew I was a bird lover. And tons of palm trees everywhere. I always love the palm trees. So pretty. I mean, we are pretty lucky that we see them more and more often in different locations now, but it's just different when you're on an island. So some relaxing time. What this looked for me by the pool. I don't drink alcohol, so this is a mocktail and a flute. And this was my pouch that had my pens, my drawing pens in it from my friend Amy. And I love octopuses or octopi, and there was an octopus on the outside of it, and my little watercolor palette. And I was again, just resting. This was all about R&R. Again, the gardens there were so pretty. And this was just the little flower that was growing. Again, even these little pieces, everything's one line, did not pick up my pen at all. So while I was there, I got a 90-minute massage, and this was the Red Lane Spa and the entrance and little fountain out in the front. And it was surrounded by some beautiful gardens. Some people at the resort get butlers, but who needs a butler when you have Will? He got up and he would get the chairs for us and get a nice spot under an umbrella, and it was just perfect. So on my morning walk, I just picked up a few leaves and flowers, and I put them on my chair, and this took 1 minute, super quick sketch. That's it, one line, just doing some observational drawing. Oh, and the best part, at night I slept 10 hours. I never sleep. I have such insomnia, but I actually slept that night. These guys are so cute. So on my morning walk, I'm like, what is that sound? And it sounds like Monet, like my bird. And I looked up and there were like dozens and dozens of these little, they look more like parrots, but they're called Jamaican parakeets, but they were bigger than parakeets, what we're used to here. And they were all in the trees talking and chatting, and they were eating their breakfast, and there was berries growing on the trees, and it just made me think of Monet and Miss Monet. So again, this is all just one drawing, and then I go back in with my writing afterwards. Really cute. Once it got hot out, they were gone. You didn't see them the rest of the day. These trees were really cool. And again, this was just a few-minute drawing. And then I went back afterwards and added just a little bit of watercolor to it. And the roots were all growing out of the ground, and it was dropping fruit and just really pretty. It didn't even look real. I felt like I was walking through this huge forest. It was really very interesting. On the beach, there were these cool little booths. I just added, again, a little bit of a watercolor wash to this. Ugh, there were mongoose running around. They were so sneaky. They were like slithering along the buildings, and they had babies with them. I didn't get too close to them. I don't know, they, not that they scare me, but I'm not used to seeing them, so they were interesting. But yeah, there were mongoose there. The pelicans would dive into the water, and they were so huge. They were fishing, diving for fish, and again, just another bird variety that I love seeing. Another egret, not the one with the twisted beak, but this one was so grumpy looking, and he would sit outside by the breakfast people, and if someone had a piece of toast in their hands, he would go right up with it in their hands, and he would grab it out of the hands. So people were trying to shoo him away, but he was super grumpy. I don't think people really wanted to mess too much with him. When we were in the ocean, a big barracuda swam past us. So this was just a quick sketch of a barracuda that I did. It was pretty big though. It was probably about like 4 feet long, maybe. But that's their home. I was standing in their water, so they were just kind of like, probably, what are you doing here, lady? You're in my home. So I couldn't be bothered by him. This was a pathway. Again, this is all still just one line. You can see how I kind of wrap it around here. And I believe this was the love sandals, and there was a tree that was growing, had little hints of yellow that I really liked. Some other buildings and trees on the side. And you may not agree with me, but for me, this was my favorite drawing in here. There were these, it almost looked like bamboo, but it wasn't. These branches with these beautiful leaves that were growing out of the sand. So like starts of big trees coming up, but they were still babies at the time, and just really super pretty. I think I want to go back and take this as a reference, and I have a photograph of it. And maybe do a painting and even zoom in and crop a little bit more, but I really enjoyed doing that. More peacocks. This one had its head turned into its back and it was preening itself. And you could see them getting to the end of the weekend. And I can't wait to tell Monet about all the birds I was seeing. And I added some color to this with the watercolors after I did my quick, probably, I don't even know, probably minute sketch, minute or two at the most. And here's the last night. They were really good with accommodating me with my food issues, which is quite a lot these days. And this was these plantain medallions, and they put these little circles on the plantains, and then they had a sauce that was going around it in the shape of a heart. So really nice weekend away, and it was totally worth just being away for 3 days, just getting some R&R, rejuvenating myself, being away from everything felt really nice, and I loved being able to capture some of these memories in this little journal. All right, I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel and like, and I'll see you next time.